and share my screen. Earlier, when I tried to share my screen with the other students, I could not. We probably did this last term. I don't even remember. We probably did this, and if we did, then you should be very active in answering the questions. Can you see my screen, students? Please say yes, I hope.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, great. It's probably just the other class that wasn't seeing it. Can you read the objective on the screen, please?
At the end of the lesson, students should be able to differentiate between literal questions and inferential questions.
Okay. All right. Can you or you or someone else continue? We're going to read the poster here. Can you see it clearly, or do I need to zoom in? Zoom in a little. Oh, that's a little bit too much. That back out a little. Zoom in. All right. Come out a little more. All right, literal versus inferential. All right, let's read. Or someone read for me, please. Let me make sure I'm recording. Give me 1 minute. Yes, I'm recording. Go ahead and read. Anyone?
Literal. What's right there? A girl is spraying water. They are outside. The dog is wet. The girl is wearing a swimsuit. They are on a patio. Patio.
Okay. Let's continue inferential. What can you tell from the picture that is not shown? I want you to be able to see the picture, so let me zoom in and then, all right, hold on. Let's see what we can do here. Oh boy. Oh boy. With me, I want you to be able to see everything. So literal is what's right there. What can we see as we are looking at the picture? Inferential, what can you tell from the picture that is not shown? All right, so let's go. What can we tell from the picture that is not shown? Continue reading. Can you see?
Yes, ma'am. The weather is warm. The girl is watching the dog in her background. The dog is tolerant.
Backyard.
Backyard. The dog is tolerant and kind, kid-friendly. The dog was recently brushed or will be. The girl doesn't want to get wet. The sprinkles were on recently.
The sprinklers were on recently. So these are all the things that we can see in the picture. It's not shown, but we can see it. Why? We make a guess based on the evidence. We can tell that it's summer because she's in her swimsuit. We know that the weather is warm, right? We can see that the dog is a very tolerant dog. Does it say that the dog is tolerant on the picture? No, it doesn't. But because we see the dog very calm while being sprayed with water, we guess that, hey, he must be tolerant. We can see that the dog has been recently brushed or will be brushed. We can see that the girl doesn't want to get wet. Why? Because look how she's holding the hose away from her. She does not want to get wet. So literal are the things that you can see right there before your eyes. And when you're doing comprehension, there are things that you can see in the passage. Just by reading the passage, you can get the answers that you are wondering or being asked about. But there are some other type of questions called inferential. Those type of questions, you cannot get the answers by looking in the text. You have to read and then guess based on the evidence that you are shown. So I'm just going to allow you to read this passage, and then I'm going to ask you some questions from the passage. Let's read the notes, making inferences. Someone read for us.
Miss Lindsay, Davina asked if you can add it in the class.
Okay, let me try. I added her before, but let me try again. Give me 1 minute. I was calling her before. All right, I called her now. All right, go ahead and read someone. We're looking at making inferences, right? Read. Anyone?
Making inferences. A writer may describe the setting, characters, and a plot of a story directly or only suggest these elements and let the reader imagine the details. Drawing conclusions from specific details is called making inferences. Continue reading.
Okay, so making inferences is drawing conclusions. So when you're making inferences, it's just like a guess based on evidence, right? A guess based on evidence. So we're not going to do the activity now. We're going to look at drawing conclusion. All right, we're going to look at drawing conclusion. So making inferences is a little bit the same as drawing a conclusion. You read a passage, you're trying to figure out something, you don't have the evidence there, but from what you read, you can draw a conclusion. All right, what does it mean to draw a conclusion? Someone read for me.
A conclusion is a decision that you make based on the information you have.
This information
comes from two places: your head, the story.
Okay. Continue.
When you put these two things together, you can make a decision, draw a conclusion about what has occurred or about what is to come.
Continue.
For example, I'm hairy. I have 4 legs. I like to talk. I like to take long walks and chase squirrels. What am I?
Anybody can guess?
A dog?
A dog.
Let's see. Okay. I'm hairy. Certain animals are hairy. I have 4 legs. Dogs and cats have 4 legs. I like to take long walks with my owner and chase squirrels. Only dogs like to take long walks. So you are correct. All right, continue.
If we use what we already know, it helps us to come to the right conclusion. Let's try it again. I am round. I am covered with sauce. Some people like to put meat and vegetables all over me. I'm cut into separate slices for people to eat. What am I?
Pizza.
Yes, pizza. Excellent. What do you know? Lots of things are around. I am covered with sauce. Only certain foods are covered with sauce, like meatballs and pizza. Some people like to put meat and vegetables all over me. You don't put meat and veggies on meatballs, but you can put them on pizza. And we know that only pizza is cut into separate slices. So drawing conclusions and making inference is like the same thing. You guess based on the evidence you have, right? All right. Now let's do it with a story. Continue reading. I'm Ronisha.
Remember to do two things. Use what you already know. Use what you learned in the story. It was a hot day and the sun beat down on all of the sunscreen people laying on blankets on the sand. The seagulls could be heard overhead flapping their wings, waiting for a scrap of food to drop to the ground. The most air
Moist.
the moist air was rich with the smell of sea salt and grilled hot dogs. In the background was the laughter of children and the soothing sound of waves continuously lapping at the shore. Where does this story take place?
The
At the
beach.
beach.
Good. What do we know? We know that people are lying on blankets on the sand. Seagulls are flying overhead. The air smells like salt, sea salt and hot dogs. Children are playing and having fun. There are constant waves. Where are we? Take a guess. Did you say the beach? You are correct. All right, let's try it one last time. This time we'll try it by looking at the end of a short story. You may or may not know it. It says it's called The Most Dangerous Game, right? Um, let's continue. Read for me, Ronisha.
Rainsford did not smile. I am still a beast at bay, he said in a low, hoarse voice. Get ready, General Zaroff. The general made one of his deepest bows. I see, he said. Splendid. One of us is to furnish a repast for the hounds. The other will sleep in this very excellent bed on guard, Rainsford. He had never slept in a better bed, Rainsford decided.
What do we know? We know that Zaroff likes to hunt humans. We know that Rainsford was his game, and Zaroff thought he killed him. What do we learn from the ending of the story? We know that Rainsford knows that as long as Zaroff is alive, he is in danger. We know that Zaroff loves a good challenge and is ready to take Rainsford on again. We know that whoever loses will be dinner for the dogs because it says one of us is to furnish a repast for the hounds. And we know that whoever wins gets the big bed. The other will sleep in this very excellent bed. What conclusion can we draw? Based on what the narrator tells us at the end of the story, he had never slept in a better bed. Who won the duel, Rainsford or Zaroff? Who won? Who won the fight? Let's go back and read the passage.
Rainsford?
Rainsford did not smile. I am still a beast at bay, he said in a low, hoarse voice. Get ready, General Zaroff. The general made one of his deepest bows. I see, he said. Splendid. One of us is to furnish a repast for the hounds. The other will sleep in this very excellent bed. On guard, Rainsford. He had never slept in a better bed, Rainsford decided. All right. If you guess Rainsford, you are correct. Okay, that's it for now, right? So making a guess based on evidence is drawing a conclusion or making inference. So there is something, you will be getting a quiz. So, but before, I want to try one of the questions with you. So we're going to read this passage and then we're going to answer one of the questions. Why only one? Because on Thursday, you will be getting a quiz. I'm going to be putting these notes up, but you will be getting a quiz on comprehension and direct speech. The comprehension will be on what we have done today. So let's read this story. Anyone else wants to read, or should we continue with Ronisha? All right, Ronisha, continue.
Donna's back was getting stiff, and she was hungry. It was 8:30, and she hadn't had breakfast yet. For the past 3 hours, she had sat quietly, her back against the tree. Earlier, a warm drizzle had damped her. Now the heat of the afternoon made the moisture feel like steam. Overhead, small monkeys and brilliant birds filled the treetops. Here on the ground, though everything was still, Donna waited, straining her ears for the familiar sound that she knew would come sooner or later. Suddenly, Donna heard them, padding through the grass. Donna put down her notebook and raised her camera. Her heart began to pound, and she waited quietly. 6 gorillas marched into view, 4 adults and 2 juveniles. Donna adjusted her zoom lens and began taking pictures. The soft, the soft whir, the soft wire of the automatic film advance sounded loud in the clearing. The animals were used to it, though, and didn't even look up. 2 sat down calmly and began to munch on leaves.
All right. Thank you, Ronisha, for reading that passage. Now, from this passage we have read, there are going to be some questions asked, but you cannot find the answers in the passage. What will you have to do? You will have to make a guess based on the evidence in the passage, and that is making inference or drawing a conclusion. Let's begin with the first question. The first question says, from what you read, you can infer that the story takes place in an African jungle in modern times, B, in a zoo in modern times, C, in a Mexican jungle in ancient times. Let's guess. The story doesn't tell us where it is taking place, but can you guess based on the evidence? Is it in a zoo in modern time? Is it in a Mexican jungle? Or is it in an African jungle in modern times? Come on.
An African jungle modern times?
Okay. Who, all right. Who, someone else was speaking in the background. Thank you, Ronisha. You say an African jungle in modern times. Who else agrees with her?
Me.
Who is me?
That's Selena.
Hi. Okay, give me 1 minute. Okay, why do you say hi, good morning, Mr. Lawrence. I'm not too bad. No, you're calling me for the projector? Oh no, I'm not at school today. Sorry about that. All right. I'm sorry about that. All right. Give me 1 minute, guys. Hi, Mr. Lawrence. Mrs. Forbes has a spare key for my room, you know. So if you don't get one, you can always ask her for the key and you can go inside and get it. No, there's nothing in the room. So as soon as you go, you look by the desk and you'll find it. Yeah. All right. All right, students, let's continue. So how do we said that it's in an African jungle in modern times. The story is taking place in an African jungle in modern time. What proof do we have? As Lena, why did you come up with that answer? What evidence in the passage made you come up with that answer? Or Ronisha, what evidence in the passage made you come up with that answer? Hello?
Because it sounded like how the Patrick put it, it sounded like she was like out in the open. It didn't sound like she was in the zoo.
Okay, so what evidence you have? Come on, find it in the passage. It sounded like she was out in the open. Tell me why. What indicates that she was out in the open?
When she was leaning on the tree. I mean, sitting down.
Good. Excellent. She was leaning on a tree, right? Birds were on the treetop, right? Very good, right? So let me ask you another question again. I'm only gonna do two. Two. From what you read, you can infer that Dana had accidentally discovered this feeding area, had patiently waited in a likely spot, wished that she were somewhere else.
B.
She patiently wait for in the likely spot.
Yo.
Okay, all right. What evidence from the passage do we have to prove, to back up our answer?
Because in the passage they make it known that she's been purposely waiting.
Quietly, her back against the tree.
Okay, very good. So you have just inferred, you have just guessed, made guesses based on evidence. So drawing conclusions from specific details is called making inferences. All right, so that's it for today's class. Please remember to study for your quiz. And if you have not completed the activity on direct speech, please complete that activity. I posted it on EduPage. So your quiz will be in class on Thursday. Your quiz will be on direct speech and drawing and comprehension. It will be a comprehension passage where you will have to read and analyze, and then select an answer. Okay, guys? So that's it for today's class. Any questions? To end the class, can anyone tell me the difference between literal comprehension questions and inferential comprehension questions?
Yes, let me do it.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Literal questions is like right in the passage, and the other one you have to like guess it.
Based on evidence from the passage.
Yeah.
Very good, Esmeslina. Very good. All right. Thank you all for coming and participating. Allow me to mark the register first before you go. And I will be putting this up on EduPage for you later. All right, this is 2 Island Heather. All right, is Isaiah here? Antonio, no. Edwin, no. Woldy, boy, nobody has come to class. And trust me, I'm sorry for them because I'm not teaching this topic over. You see? And I called all of them in. And look at the amount of children in the class. This is bad, guys. You have to, oh, well, not you. It's the others. Right. Kenya is not here. Even Altika, I called her and I guess Davina didn't make it in. Delano, are you here? I saw him earlier. I don't know. Oh, Isaiah is here. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, guys. I will see you tomorrow at class, okay? Online.
Yes, miss.
All right, bye-bye.